While Red Bull might now sit atop both championships, it's hard to deny that Ferrari have the fastest car on the grid. Charles Leclerc has qualified on the front row in every race so far this season, taking pole in 4 of them. But what is it about the F175 that makes it so fast? And why have Ferrari been unable to convert that pace into more points? The last 2 races have been filled with disappointment for Charles Leclerc. He's been Ferrari's fastest driver so far in 2022, beating his teammate to the checkered flag in 5 of the 7 races this season. He's also out-qualified his teammate Carlos Sainz in every race. Carlos Sainz has hardly been slow. When he's avoided crashing in qualifying, he's always qualified in the top 3. We need to take a bit of a deep dive into the technical aspects of the F175 to work out what is giving them so much speed. We have some sick new animations to show this off, so stick with me. In Barcelona, Charles Leclerc was pretty much guaranteed a win after the first 10 laps of the race. He was so much faster than anyone else on the track and had gained a huge lead by the time his engine gave up. He was 13.5 seconds clear of Russell in second place, and with Max Verstappen having no DRS, there was no chance of anyone catching him. Leclerc's Ferrari suffered forced induction overheating localized to the compressor. The turbine, which was working at 120,000 RPM, was subjected to thermal stress, meaning the materials it was composed of got too hot. The compressor then deformed to a point where it was unable to cool the engine, and bang, Charles Leclerc's race was over. At the Circuit de Barcelona, drivers are on the accelerator for 73% of the lap. When you couple that with the record-breaking temperatures over the race weekend, it's surprising more cars didn't suffer from engine problems. Like we said though, before that happened, Charles Leclerc was flying. Mattia Binotto spoke briefly over the Spanish GP weekend about the team's development. In the next few races, development will be key. After 6 races, our team has been able to evolve the car in the right direction, which is an important element. So what direction have they been able to develop in so far? Well, the first thing they've been able to do is improve the air quality that's going into the ground effect floor. This has been a priority for many teams' development plans due to the floor having such a huge influence over how the cars perform this season. Part of the issue for some teams is that the wake coming off the front wheels is very disruptive, creating turbulence under the car in the corners. When the cars turn, the angle that the turbulence leaves the wheels changes. This turbulence then travels inside the wide deflectors, which are part of the new car regulations imposed by the FIA, disturbing the airflow powering the floor. Ferrari has studied this effect and created a taller and longer deflector which works as a protection screen to the turbulence. The new design funnels part of the turbulence outside of the floor, neutralizing the negative effects in the corners when a high downforce level is required. Thanks to the higher quality of air going under the car in the corners, Ferrari have been far faster than their rivals Red Bull through the corners. This was on show in Monaco in round 7 of the 2022 season. Monaco as a track requires an incredibly high level of downforce. The street circuit features a large portion of slow corners, and having a lot of downforce allows you to go faster through those slow corners. The Ferrari drivers utilized this to their advantage in qualifying and managed to lock out the front of the grid. This graph shows Charles Leclerc's fastest lap in qualifying against the fastest lap of Sergio Perez, who was the fastest driver not in a Ferrari. The blue sections are where Perez was fastest, and the red sections are where Leclerc was quickest. You can see that Leclerc was quicker through the majority of the corners and at the start of the straights. This is because he had a higher downforce car that was able to carry more speed through the corners and have a higher exit speed than the Red Bull. Towards the end of the straights, Perez goes faster than Leclerc, thanks to his better top speed and acceleration which comes from Red Bull's lower downforce setup. Unfortunately for Leclerc, his pit wall team had a meltdown during the race, making numerous mistakes that cost him track position and time. It was a freaking disaster today, said Leclerc after the race in Monaco. He had gained a 5-second lead over Carlos Sainz while the track was still soaked from the rain. The win was clearly in our hands. We had the performance, we had everything. I just don't really understand the call that I had, and I need an explanation for now. I couldn't do much. I was called just before the last corner, so I couldn't react or ask for any information. But that was clearly the wrong choice. We need to get better. Leclerc had every right to be angry at his team. He drove an excellent race up until the point that his team pitted him at the wrong time, and then called him in by accident, forcing him to sit in the pit lane, waiting for Sainz to get his new tyres fitted. Once the Monegasque had lost track position, there was no way for him to get around Max Verstappen in third place. The tight streets of Monaco make overtaking impossible unless the driver in front makes a big mistake. The Ferrari engineers had given him the perfect vehicle to win the race with as well. A win that would have given him back the lead in the Drivers' Championship, by the way. Ferrari were able to make use of their incredible electro-hydraulic differential system around the slow-speed track. The eDiff system gives more torque to the outside tyre as the F175 accelerates through the corner. This allows the car to turn more aggressively and precisely. The same thing happens when the drivers get on the brakes during the entry to the corner. The differential, which applies the engine braking and the negative torque of the MGU-K to the tyres, shifts a higher braking percentage to the internal tyre. This creates a torque vectoring effect and sets a trim angle into the corner, improving the entry line. It's an effect that Carlos Sainz has apparently struggled with so far, but that really suits Leclerc. Make no mistake about it, Ferrari would have won the Monaco Grand Prix if it wasn't for those strategy errors. Luckily for Ferrari, they can make use of this car setup in the next race as well. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix is another street circuit that's defined by its close quarter racing and tight turns. Ferrari should be able to make full use of their eDiff system around the track. With the team now 36 points behind Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship and Leclerc 9 points behind Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship, they'll be eager to leave their mistakes in Monaco and get back to winning ways. After the race at Baku, Ferrari will have to deal with the demands of the Montreal Grand Prix in Canada. At both tracks, the cars will need to be able to cope with low-speed corners while also being able to make the most of the higher speed sections. To achieve this balance, Ferrari are going back to the wind tunnel to get a new front wing configuration dialed in and optimize their low drag configuration. The inlet boxes, which recently received new fins, channel the air to the Venturi tunnels, improving the ground effect while also expelling excess air out of the side of the car. The vortex created by the fins creates a barrier that the peripheral air can't penetrate. This stops the underfloor airflow from getting messed up, meaning that the expansion flow from the Venturi tunnels and the rear diffuser can do their job, expelling air and creating a low pressure zone pulling the car to the ground. Ferrari will also be aiming to make the most of the low density hot air that travels close to the body. They have a new paint which conducts heat better, meaning that the turbulent air traveling over the body will take more heat away from the engine. The Scuderia hope this will help them avoid a repeat of Charles Leclerc's car overheating in Spain. It's the combination of electro-hydraulic differential and innovative floor deflectors that gave them such a huge advantage over the competition in the last two races. These design choices should give them the advantage in the next two races as well. It is imperative for Ferrari to make the most of the fact that they're the fastest car on the grid in Baku and Montreal. They've been developing their car to make the most of the slow-speed circuits, but when Formula 1 goes to Silverstone in round 10 on the 3rd of July, the advantage will be with the car that has the best low downforce setup, which at the moment looks like Red Bull. For now though, Red Bull might sit atop the championship tables, but Ferrari definitely have the fastest car. Want to know more about what is happening in F1 right now? Then click the video showing on your screen and I'll see you there.